One night, I was lying in my bed. I was tossing and turning, unable to sleep. I was thinking, oh great, now you're going to have a lousy day tomorrow because you're going to be tired all day. I felt like a deflated balloon. My inner critic lashed out at me. You can't even do this basic thing that even babies do. You are a failure at sleep. Inside, even as I thought, why is this interior voice berating me and being so mean? I also thought, who is this voice and how can I find out more about this? We've all got that one voice in our heads that loves to tell us that we're not good enough, that we're going to fail, that we're just not cut out for this thing called life. This is our inner critic, and it's a voice that can be incredibly debilitating if we let it get the best of us. It can affect our mental health, our self-esteem, and even our relationships with others. But what if I told you that instead of fighting this voice, I decided to befriend it? Yeah, it sounds crazy, but stick with me and you'll see just how life-changing this journey was. I know I'm not alone in this struggle. Many of us have been held back by our inner critic, feeling like we're just not good enough or that we're imposters waiting to be uncovered. We're plagued by self-doubt, fear of failure, and a constant sense of inadequacy. It's like we're stuck in a never-ending cycle of negativity and it's hard to see a way out, but the truth is, we don't have to live like this. We don't have to be controlled by this voice that's supposed to be helping us but is actually holding us back. I've been there too. I've struggled with my own inner critic for years, listening to its constant criticisms and letting them dictate my every move. But one day I realized I was tired of living like this. I was tired of feeling like I wasn't good enough, like I'm just pretending to be someone I'm not. So I decided to take a step back and really look at this voice. I started to notice the patterns, the triggers, and the fears that drove it. And what I discovered was surprising. As I delved deeper into my inner critic, and I realized that it wasn't the enemy that I thought it was. It was actually a part of me that was trying to protect me from getting hurt. It was trying to keep me safe, but in its own twisted way. Let me unpack this a bit further. As I investigated this part of myself, this negative self-talk, I learned through being exposed to internal family systems, coaching courses, and my expression as a songwriter that my inner critic started showing up in my mind at a very young age. This is often the case as our bodies and brain is growing and we're forming our personality. We do our best to make sense of the world and our immediate environment. As very young children, we do our best to tell ourselves the stories that get us through. You've probably heard that children of divorce blame themselves as they try to understand what is happening within the family dynamic. This is why I said that in its own twisted way, my inner critic was trying to protect me and keep me safe. The way this landed for me, my inner critic was preparing me for the worst possible criticism by delivering in my head the worst possible criticism. This realization was a game changer for me. It meant that I didn't have to fight this voice. I could actually work with it. And that's exactly what I did. But this final piece, informed by internal family systems, was the most shocking aspect of the whole journey. Most therapy and coaching recognizes how common negative self-talk is, and most responses try to minimize, ignore, bypass, or just outright get rid of this internal critic. But IFS said something amazingly different. IFS said these parts, these internal aspects of each of us are normal. Instead of getting rid of any part you may judge as negative, If you can appreciate that this part came online when you were a very young child trying to make sense of the world, then you also have an opportunity to update this relationship. You can be in dialogue with this part and say, hey, let's get to know each other. I'm no longer a very young kid. I'm fully grown. Your ideas about protecting me and keeping me safe come from a good impulse. I want to be protected and kept safe. But let's see if we can find a better role for you, a role that doesn't make me feel bad or beat me up in the process. If we update your ideas about what you fear and what needs protecting and how to protect, then I think we can get along much better and become friends. Now, this didn't happen all at once or overnight, but it did shift over time. I realized that my inner critic wasn't the problem. It was just a symptom of a deeper issue. It was a sign that I was living my life based on fear and doubt instead of faith and trust. And in that moment, I decided to take a leap of faith. I decided to befriend my inner critic, listen to its concerns, and work with it to create a more passionate and loving relationship with myself. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. As I started to befriend my inner critic, I gave it a new name, my inner planner. And I began to notice some amazing changes in my life. I felt more confident, more self-assured, more compassionate toward myself and others. I realized that I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to be me. And that was incredibly liberating. I started to take risks and pursue my passions and live my life on my own terms. And you know what? It was amazing. By befriending my inner critic, I learned the importance of compassion and understanding. I learned that I don't have to be controlled by my fears and doubts. I can actually use them to propel me forward. And now my inner planner is a part of me that is friendly, helping me to strategize. And I hope that you can learn from my journey too. I hope you can start to see your own inner critic in a new light as a part of you that's trying to help, not hurt. I found that expressing myself through a creative outlet, and mine happens to be songwriting, I was able to tease out new information about the difference between, say, being alone and loneliness. I was able to look at these parts of myself in song and show my inner world to myself. I was able to express my fears and those areas where I felt unprotected and vulnerable. Creative expression can help us investigate ideas like this and find our own personal way to appreciate them. So I want to hear from you. Have you struggled with your own inner critic? How have you learned to work with it? Share your experiences with me in the comments below. Let's start befriending ourselves, one part at a time. Go ahead and look inside. I think you'll find that it's worth getting to know yourself better. My name is Daniel Mandel, and I work with people just like you to help them see possibilities, learn new ways to express themselves, and find greater satisfaction as they get to know themselves. You can find out more at danielrmandel.com/engage with me, or just send an email to coach@danielrmandel.com. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the Creative Engagement YouTube channel and share your thoughts and comments below. Thank you so much for watching.